In this video briefly. Of course there are Russian Jews and other immigrants who immigrated to this country and they are fine. And there are two kinds of people. From what I know, again, I'm not going to say I know everything, but this is based on what I see, just my opinion. One kind of people, immigrants who are from another country, who came to this country to an earlier age. In early age, I'm talking about the kids, children, aging like 0 to like 12 or 13. If you come to another country at that young age and you stay there for good, you're gonna assimilate just like that. Because you came to the country as a kid. And you know, kids, they can change faster than adults because you know you are not formed yet with your ideas and everything. So you can change quicker, you can change faster. And I have I'm just gonna read this to you people, and this is a Svaijao thing, but I got it on my wall. I'm gonna read it and actually comes kind of handy. I'm gonna read this. A man is born gentle and weak. At his death he is hard and stiff. Green plants are tender and filled with sap. All their dead and they are withered and dry. Therefore the stiff and unbending is the disciple of death. The gentle and yielding is the disciple of life. Okay? There's more to it because it's a Svaijao thing, but last two I'm not gonna read to you because this doesn't apply. Okay? Because this is not about Svaijao, but yeah. You see, and the reason why I brought it up to you, like about disciple of death, disciple of life, is that you know, when you get older, you kind of get stiffer, you know, with age. And you cannot change, you're not as flexible, and it's difficult to be flexible. Now, if you're going from other country to other country, you have to be flexible. Now, if you're a little kid, and you're going from one country to another country to live for good, and your brain is still flexible, it's easy for you. You're not gonna have an accent. You're gonna adjust. You're gonna get accustomed. You're cool. Like I know a lot of Russian Jews who were born in Russia, for example, but then here is the kids. They're just like normal Americans. Yes, they may have Russian heritage. And we can say, well, I want to marry Russian and Jewish, whatever. But they interact with Americans just like Americans do. But the Russians who came here at the age of 40, or even at the age of 17, 19, like me, cannot get rid of your accent, cannot get rid of your Russian mentality, having hard time with people, being lonely, things like that. Yes, if Russian people is gonna kind of learn the ways, maybe more flexible Russians, they may fit in and get a job. It depends, you know. But like I said, somebody else, Russian Jew, came here when he was 17, now he's like 35. Good man, but he's pretty lonely, and he said how people fucked up here. Why? Because he's from Belarus, he grew up there, and he said that the social circle there, social life there is good. Of course, because he's Jewish, and Jewish people are Russophobic, they hate Slavic people, so always gonna say it, Russians fucked up and America is cool. But when you really talk to him, they still gonna say, well, in Russia social life is better. See? And in America they have everything, they have cars and houses and everything, which they didn't have in Russia. But they're pretty lonely. So this is Russian versus America. What would you prefer? To have a comfortable life and be lonely? Or to have a little bit more difficult life, but be around the people who like you, with whom you can get fucked up, drunk all the time, with whom you can do activities all the time, with whom you can have fun all the time. So that's the dilemma right there. The same thing about Russia and America. Would you prefer to be with people you like all the time? Would you prefer to be lonely most of the time and but have more comfortable life? And that's why, people who come as an adults to this country, as students, they talk to their communities. Chinese people have their community. You rarely see like American student hanging out with Chinese, native Chinese. You see it, but not a lot. mostly Chinese people hang out with Chinese. And then I have another example, my Russian friend. She's been here since 2010, and now she found herself just last year because she does fashion, you know. She has a job, she has people, some of them are Russians, by the way. In New York it's easier because there are more Russians in New York than in Columbus too, so. And then she kind of found herself, but I remember a couple years ago when she was with her boyfriend and his family, she used to be bored because she didn't know the language, she used to just call me because she was bored. Now, you know, when she's a model or whatever, she doesn't want to talk to me because she has her life, but it took her 3 or 4 years, okay, to get accustomed to this country. And again, she talks to some Russians, and I don't know any Russians. And again, I'm okay too, I kind of fit in too, so maybe I shouldn't complain, but like I said, it's still difficult because, you know, it's harder to fit in the country where you don't know anybody. And by the way, it goes more than 5 minutes, but I'm gonna finish it up real quick for Tangle. But yeah, it's just more difficult, you know. That's why, like, if you African people talk with Africans in the United States, Chinese with Chinese, Russians with Russians, Russian Jews with Russian Jews, and I don't fit in with any of these categories because even though I'm mostly Jewish, but I'm different. I came in the United States at different time. I got some Russian in me, and I have different idea about life in Russia than these Russian Jews who came here early in their lives or whatever. If they came here as a kids, they may not be Russophobic because they got Americanized. But Russians who came here in the 90s because they hated it, they came here, they just say how Russia is fucked up, but these are their experiences, these are not my experiences. So it's different. I live different life. I came here in 2006, so it was different life, and I didn't live that a bad life as they did. I didn't face anti-Semitism like they did. So I don't give a fuck about the experiences, that has nothing to do with me, okay? Regardless of my ethnicity. I did face anti-Semitism on the internet, but again, Jewish people don't have their hands clean either. But that's a whole different subject, okay? It's a whole different subject. But anyway, that's the thing though. Like I said, if you from one place and you go to another place at like not as a kid, it's gonna be difficult because you have to adjust to a new environment. And it's difficult at an older age. The older you get, the more difficult it is, just like with an accent. When you're 5-year-old, you can get rid of it just like this. When you're 15, 20-year-old, it stays with you, okay? So that's why it's hard to be a foreigner, it's hard to be an immigrant, that sucks. Unless you change, and change is hard. Because you have to change the way you interact with people, and all other things in order to fit in. I'm talking about American society. And if you're in Russia, you don't have to do all of that. There, you interact certain way, people understand you. But if you're going to interact in the way you interacted with people in Russia, the same way you interact with people in America, they will think that you're rude, they will think you're an asshole, etc., etc. In Russia, people understand. In America, this kind of impression they will get. And in America, people are not going to talk back to you like in Russia. They're just going to say, oh, thank you, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And my dad was telling me that before. I didn't listen. Because I thought that that's fucked up. But he knew better and he was right. So, he really was right, actually. He didn't agree with the way I think the world should be. But he was right. And again, I'm sure Americans, this is how they think. But again, I watch videos and I see the difference in thinking of Americans and Russians. And this is the truth though, so. That's why Americans can think wrongly about Russians. Because they think one thing, but it's another thing. Because they have certain way of thinking, and when you see the foreigner, you cannot think like you're accustomed to think. And the same thing goes for multicultural dating too. Because, you know, she has certain experience the way men are, etc., etc. You're dating men from different country, from different region. All the experiences, all your ideas goes to shit. Because these men have different ideas, etc., etc. And if you're from different places, it's hard for you to comprehend different ideas. That's why a lot of people prefer to date people like them, like Russian date Russian, Jew date Jews. And that's why multiculturalism is harmful. Because, you say one thing, people take you a lot away. Intention and perceptions are two different things. And people take you wrong way. A lot of miscommunication, a lot of misconstrued ideas. That's why being Russian in America sucks. Because people just comes with you with cultural stereotypes, don't really understand you. Don't understand the way you communicate, and you have to fit in order for people to, you have to be like them, you have to adjust to people, and people not gonna adjust to you. So that's kind of difficult. And at the older age, you cannot really do it as well. So if you want to immigrate to another country, do it as a kid. Otherwise, you're gonna face a lot of problems. You still can overcome it, you still can be successful, you can go through shit. But I'm gonna tell you, things gonna come to you later in your life, and you're gonna struggle more than other people. That's it. That was my response to Tangle 2121. This is about Russia and America, 4 videos. All the best to you guys. And this video was a little long, I'm sorry. I just had to be rambling on. I'm sorry, Tangle, but be patient and watch till the end. It was for you. Peace out. Later.